If we would just actually do the important things and do them first, you'd have wild success in this business. Solving important problems. So I'm guilty of often solving problems, but the wrong problems during my workday. For example, let's say I have 50 emails, I have an offer to write, I have to do evaluation on a property, but there's also a survey that came in from Nordstrom. If I have something to do, I'll send myself an email and I leave it there until I get it done, right? I use my calendar, but that's like my default. If all hell breaks loose, I can go to my inbox and be like, oh, that's right, I have to do this and this and this, okay? But then I usually start from the top and just try to get rid of stuff that doesn't matter, like unsubscribe it, delete it, whatever. And then say there's a survey that comes up and you get a $5 Starbucks gift card. This will take less than 10 minutes. If I go and fill out that survey to get it out of my inbox, and I skip doing the property valuation for the potential seller, and I delay writing the offer another 10 minutes, I just did the opposite of this. I just solved a not important problem. When I need to make my 20 calls for the day, or I really need to call that individual back that was interested in selling a house and they told me that 2 days ago, but instead I go on Instagram, I do something that's not as important, then I feel busy, right? But I wasn't productive. Every year, this is what the market looks like, right? We peak, let's call this March to mid-July, right? This is where the majority of the activity happens. We can still do deals here, right? In here. Are we solving important problems here? Or we just waste our time? Because here, right, what you'll find is when you're busy, you have to be solving important problems first because you really don't have time. But when you only have one important thing to do, why is it that we don't do it at all? I've said this many times, right? We're slower, we do everything worse because we lose our priorities, right? So the number one thing that we have to think about every day before we even start is, am I solving the right problems? Or am I just staying busy? Manage your thoughts, manage your time in 60 minutes. Okay, so solving important problems, a good part of that, right, is if you allow anything and everything to throw you off course because you're unable to manage your thoughts, you're never gonna be able to manage your time and then solve important problems. So in order for me to solve important problems, I have to manage my thoughts and my thought process, right? We all have self-talk. Is that fair, or am I the only one that talks to myself? The market's not so great. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it. How am I gonna do this, right? Are we thinking that? Or are we thinking, hey, I am a goal-oriented person. I'm a killer and I'm going to win. There's gonna be 3.5 million homes, 3.7 million homes sold next year. That means over 7 million commission opportunities, and I'm gonna get my unfair share. What are you telling yourself? Because we have a little gate. Think about a control as our conscious mind, and then we have a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind runs the show. We just can't access it. But one way to teach it what you want and teach it how to think is be careful what you think here, right? Because what you think consciously and what you do repeatedly will enter the subconscious and then change the way you see things. If you don't think using the phone works, using the phone will not work for you. Simply because you're not going to be willing to put in the effort. Your subconscious is going to say, hey, that person hung up on you. This doesn't work. You should just do something else, because that's what you've been thinking all week or all month. But if you say, hey, no, calling people does work because no one else does it, and I will impress people. And yes, some people will hang up on me. Big deal. I'm going to continue doing it because I'm managing my thoughts and I'm solving an important problem. My problem may be that I need more business. Maybe that's my one important problem. And the way we do that is we manage our time in 60-minute blocks, right? All I've ever asked is 9:30 to 11 to do lead generation. If we did this every day for 1 hour, you would be amazed at how much money you would make. Okay, this is your number one problem right here. 60 minutes of concentrated building of your business. Did we actually sit down, concentrated, do lead generation for 60 straight minutes yesterday? Jason?
Yesterday, no.
How close did you get? Did you do any?
I did. I sat in Starbucks for about 45 minutes and made calls, but not super productive.
Jenna?
I sat at my desk and made phone calls while my car was cleaned.
So Jenna actually solved her most important problem yesterday. How did you feel?
Good. It's productive.
Because 60 minutes a day is all we need. Amy, did you do 60 minutes yesterday?
About halfway.
So we have lunch. It's a 90-day program and it's pretty intense, but it gets you in the habits and in the mindset of being successful. So one of those things is last week was for Carlos to make 1,000 dials, right? And the idea is if you can do 1,000, then doing 50 every day is no big deal because that's 1/20th of what you're capable of, right? So now I'm only doing 5% of what I know I'm capable of, which is 100%. But if I do that 5% consistently, I will make a lot of money and I'll have a good business. And if I don't do it, I won't. It's that simple. If you do it, you will. And if you don't, you won't. Yet most of us don't solve the most important problem, which is doing the 60 minutes. If we're not doing the lead gen in real estate, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to talk to people, if you're not willing to do open houses, to door knock, to make phone calls, to send cold emails, to send cold texts, to hold a sign on the road, if you're not willing to do something to let the world know that you're in this business and then have some sort of follow-up system, then you won't be successful, right? So 30 minutes of generating it and then 60 minutes of follow-up. So if we just do the lead generation, all we're doing is looking for someone that's going to do business with us today. What percentage of those people are we going to run into, right? But how many are 2 weeks out, 2 months out, a year out, 6 months out? Everybody is. I mean, every once in a while we'll get a lead and they're like, dude, I want to buy this house. You'll get those, but for the most part, it's all about the follow-up. So there's these two sections of it, right? So from 9:30 to 10:30, I talk to people. It doesn't have to be strangers. There's two types of people in this world that do lead generation. The people that like talking to strangers and the people that like talking to people that know them. So figure out which one you are and then go to the strength, right? You don't have to do things that you're absolutely not willing to do, but you have to be willing to do something. And then you have to be able to follow up. So now we need to start setting appointments for these people. Say, okay, Carlos, you want to sell? Let's get together, man, and see like why you want to sell and how I can help you if we're going to be a good fit. Because this is a two-way road, right? I don't get paid unless the house sells or the real estate sells. I need to make sure that I think we're going to be a good fit because I don't get along with everybody. Is that fair? The whole world doesn't get along. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. So let's make sure that Carlos likes me and I like Carlos and I think I can help him and I think I can get his house sold at the price that he needs. Because if we don't like each other, that's instantly not going to work, right? Or if he wants $1 million and it's worth $500,000, I will be wasting my time and my marketing efforts trying to sell a house that's never going to sell at that price. We need to get together and figure it out. And to be honest with you, I can't help you if I don't know really what you want. And I think it's super important for us to meet each other in person. I remember when I was at Keller Williams, I met with these buyers, right? They're like, hey, we want to buy. Perfect. We meet at the office. I'm like, okay, here's how it works. First, I'm like, what are you looking for? What's your situation? Have you ever bought a home before? Are you renting? Are you currently in a lease? What do you like about where you live? What don't you like about where you live? Is there any other decision makers that we need to talk to? What's our financing situation look like? What kind of down payment do you have? How quick do you need to move, right? So we're getting the info and they're like, oh shoot, I am in a lease and it's not up until June. Say, okay, well then you're gonna have to figure out if you're willing to pay a lease break fee or we just need to pump the brakes until, let's say 3 months before until March. Right, because we can look for a month and then we'll find something that'll take 2 months to close and then you won't break your lease. Sometimes it ends right there. So we've got to meet, right? We've got to get together. And if we don't follow up with them, it's never going to happen. Is that fair? So this is your most important problem. Okay, and then this is your second most important problem. If you don't use a CRM, if you're not sitting down making notes, you're going to get frustrated. Because when you do this every day, and you do this every day, you're gonna get busy. And when you start getting busy, things start to break, right? Can most people handle one transaction at a time? I'm working with one person, right? I have one person to find houses for. I have one person to show houses to. That's very manageable. Then you get to 3 people, right? The most you can typically work when you're working with buyers is 8 A buyers. That you will be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And if we haven't started building systems now, it's gonna blow up in your face. You're gonna have 8 A buyers and 4 of them will buy with someone else because you didn't respond to them quick enough, because you weren't able to show them the house, because you didn't call them back and get them the information about what the well flow was, or where the septic tank was located, or when the roof was replaced, and they're going to go somewhere else. So boom, boom, and then we have to get into systems, which is what we do here, right? You have to do your own lead generation. We provide quite a few leads. We got 12 leads in yesterday? Like, we have people constantly calling us, wanting to buy, sell, and invest. And then we distribute those out to the people that are showing up and actually doing the work. If you don't show up, you're not doing the work, we're not giving you the leads that we bought, right? Why would I? If you're not calling people to begin with, why would I expect you to call someone that I ask you to call, right? If you're not willing to do it for yourself, you're certainly not gonna do it for me, right? So then we get into the systems part of this where we have the CRM and we use the calendar, and you can start building a pretty big business, right? Where you're closing 4 or 5 deals a month and it's not super hectic, because I've done it before and other people here have done it before. We've built that thing out. But very few people ever get to needing the systems because they're not solving the most important problem, because their mindset's wrong and they're not managing their time well. It's so easy to do, especially in real estate, right? You guys are not my employees. I can't make you do anything, right? You are independent contractors. You can do something or you can do nothing, and all I can do is choose whether or not to have you on the team. That's as far as it goes. If we don't control our thoughts, we certainly are not going to control our actions, and we're not going to be solving important problems, right? And then that leads to like, oh, this doesn't work, I'm quitting, I'm just going to get a job again. Where if we would just actually do the important things and do them first, you'd have wild success in this business, because it's hard, right? And anything worth having is hard. When you can make as much money as you can in real estate, don't expect it to be easy. There cannot be this high of compensation if it's simple. When you can make more money than attorneys, than doctors, and then expect it to be easy and to do nothing every day and to have success, like, you are very, very wrong. But if you're okay with some hard work and being diligent, you don't need to do this for 8 to 10 hours a day. You need to do it for 2 or 3. Here's what happens. Here's what's gonna happen if we don't do it consistently. Okay, and this happens in any business. So when I was building houses, we would have no work. And then I would call people, promote, and then we would get busy. And then I would be doing the thing. I would be building the house, I'd be swinging the hammer. Or in this instance, I would be showing the buyers houses and I would be negotiating offers for the seller. But while I am doing the negotiating, I stop doing the activities that got me the business. So now the business is gonna close, and now I'm gonna have nothing to do. So then I'm gonna call and promote and follow up until I have some business. But then I'm gonna work the business, and then I'm gonna have no business. That's what happens when we don't do this consistently. So as ideally, what we do is we keep our activities consistent, right? You're still gonna have some ups and downs. We're not going to do it perfectly every day, right? But if you're continually doing the activities, that 60 minutes a day, kind of like a robot, the amount of success you'll have is gonna be wild, right? And then if you contrast that with what the average person does, and that's any entrepreneur. So it doesn't have to be just real estate. Anybody that's a small business owner in some sort of deal where they are pushing their business forward is going to do some promotion until they get some work. They're going to work until they're out of work, and they're going to have this over and over again. And it's very frustrating. It's very hard to build wealth. But if you just do your 1 hour, right? And your 1 hour, which is important problem, you're going to make a ton of money. It's that simple. So you got to keep your mind right around this. What am I doing? What's the true purpose of me being here? I am here to make money, and I make money by selling homes. So in order for me to make money selling homes, I need to find people to buy homes and sell homes. So my number one priority is actually finding these people. And then the team can take care of the rest of this stuff. But you need to find the people, and you need to sell the houses. So that's the key. That's like real estate in a nutshell, for better or for worse.